Whole lot of people have been vaccinated. Apparently 50% of people in the United States have received the jab. And you know what? If they all did it under their own decision-making capacities, then that is totally up to them. Take that into accordance with the amount of positive tests that have been out there and the people that have come back to survive. Having the coof should be close to that old herd immunity. Depends on what the numbers are today, though, so who fucking knows. But it's just not enough, because now, for all intents, they haven't come out and said it yet, but they want everybody to have had the jab. Every fucking person. It doesn't matter. They keep dropping the ages farther and farther, all right? And it's like everybody over the age of 2 is supposed to be wearing masks. How long before everybody over the age of 2 needs to start getting the jab? I think it's either tomorrow's video or something we talked about recently, but they're going to start putting the jab in schools. I think that's in Pennsylvania, but it's in one of those fucking crazy states out there where it's going to be up there just with like a tetanus booster or fucking measles or fucking hepatitis. It's just going to be a part of the regular old jabs that are out there. So great. Great. Again, I don't have anything against it. I just have the entire system trying to tell me to do something. And instinctively, I get that feeling like, guys, you know, it's like just right in your balls where you just don't want to go ahead with something because you know something's wrong. You just can't put your thumb on it. I got that feeling on this one. Yeah, I've been very vocal about that. And what they keep doing here is just not encouraging, especially for the fact that a man has the fucking numbers written down on a card that he keeps right here in my breast pocket, man, at all times. And he can't even fucking read it, and he's supposed to be in charge of all this shit. Joe Biden botched his vaccination numbers twice, even after looking at his notes. Let's see how bad this was. I didn't catch this one. President Joe Biden falsely claimed at the White House on Friday that 350 million Americans... Oh my god, is he including his voter base on this one? There's not even 350 million Americans. He's so smart. Have been vaccinated twice, bungling his statistics after looking at his notes. You know, we have roughly 350 million people vaccinated in the United States and billions around the world. We might be up to 1 billion at this point. That would make sense. Biden said after looking at his note card provided by White House staff, approximately 165 million Americans. Okay, again, 350 million, 165 million. There's nothing even close. Like, you couldn't even lay that up to just maybe a touch of dyslexia. This is just full out dementia at this point. Yeah, so 165 million have got the jab, according to latest numbers, Center for Disease Control. Currently, 349 million vaccine shots have been administered. He's closer there. He's a little bit closer. But Biden made the same mistake after looking at his notes again. I said, well, over, what's the number again? Maybe he's just asking God and seeing if he can get on the phone with him. I had to remind myself, 350 million Americans have already been vaccinated. Oh boy. Oh boy, he's made other stupid claims as well, not just how many people, but what your immunity level is once you've received the jab as well. And it's things that I can't say on YouTube, but if you're the president, if you're the Democratic president of the United States, you can get away with literal murder. Just ask Bill Clinton. There are only about 328.2 million Americans in the United States, according to the latest Census Bureau estimates that just came out, so it's pretty accurate. Not to take into account the flood of illegals coming over the southern border, but don't worry about anybody coming through the northern border, because that motherfucker is locked up tighter than Hillary Clinton's snatch. Biden spoke at the White House before leaving for his home in Delaware for the weekend, and presumably he's going to be heading up to Martha's Vineyard for Barack Obama's big old birthday bash, but more on that tomorrow, because I think it's supposed to be a 2-night affair, so, you know, more pictures, it'll be great. He also blamed Americans for refusing to get the vaccine and recent coronavirus deaths. Yes, because it's all about, you know, oh, we don't want to blame anybody, but that was the narrative a couple weeks ago. Now it's, oh, we need to start blaming unvaccinated people. Evil rhetoric. People are starting to push back, though. Sort of. Kind of. It's just coming from the institutions this time, so this at least makes me feel a little bit better about things. New York City officials and small businesses object to proof of vaccination mandates. Good, because these small business, I don't know how many small businesses in New York City they have left to represent, But that key to New York City, or the pass, the key pass, or vaccine passport, show your papers, the fucking little yellow star that you have to put on your fucking lapel for New York City to go in anywhere at this point. That is going to kill off every small business that's out there. Of course, the big corporations will hop on board, but New York City is one of those places where small businesses drive a lot of the retail industry. So you're going to kill them. You're going to kill what's left. And then you're just going to have the Blade Runner future where everybody just comes in, all these big mega corporations. Most notably, of course, is BlackRock. Will just come in, buy up the real estate, and sit on it, and waiting for there to be a real estate boom, continue to sit on it, and then start renting it out once all the moratoriums are up and over. And ergo, you have de facto socialized housing forever. Terrific, isn't it? Representative Nicole Malakolatos, I'm sorry, you Greek bitch, and other New York City officials are protesting against a recent proof of vaccination mandate issued by New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. In expression of their disagreement, they sent a letter to de Blasio, which I don't know why you'd do that unless you put it in big bold letters with crayons. He's fairly dim. A Democrat, no shit, demanding a reversal to this unfair directive immediately. This vaccine passport directive not only forces small businesses to deny service to their customers, but it prohibits large swaths of the communities from participating in regular society. The mayor announced on Tuesday that indoor dining, gyms, and entertainment venues will require attendees to show proof of vaccinations, including staff members, becoming the first city in the country to adopt such a measure. I'm sure Chicago's probably not that far behind it, and we know that LA County is already kicking around the idea, thanks to city council member putting forth the initiative. At least right now it's in the planning works, but I guess they're just gonna wait and see what's happening with New York City, because all of this stuff is supposed to drop, I think, in New York City by the end of September. All of it's just ramping up for the fall. They want to get ahead of everything so that they continue to push the narrative that a new wave is coming, the fourth wave is coming, that it's going to be a dark, dark winter. Oh, like it says here, the mandate is scheduled to be enforced on September 13th. So yeah, get the jab by then. Otherwise, it's no going in anywhere. Unless these people get their way, which I doubt it, because it is Republicans in New York, and they're just as ineffective as Democrats are overbearing within the state. It is clear to us and our constituents, most of whom have received the jab, that this directive represents an extraordinary level of government overreach. You don't say. Further states the letter, which is co-signed by New York City Council Minority Leader Stephen Matteo, Councilman Joseph Borrelli, New York State Senator Andrew Lanza, Assemblyman Michael Riley, and Michael Tanusis, all ineffective Republicans in the state of New York. So, whatever, it totally makes sense. I'm definitely on their side. Don't take that as any kind of a shot across the bow. It's just Republicans and New York in the same sentence. It seems like it's the setup for a joke, because, well, they are. Further, it attempts to turn the city and small businesses into COVID police by forcing them to require employees and patrons to show proof of vaccination. No shit. But what does it say here? Mike Chew, supervisor for Luke's Lobster in Manhattan, told the Epoch Times that the owners of the seafood restaurant chain might need to find a way to let both vaccinated and unvaccinated people come in, but that so far hasn't found a solution. Yeah, because it's pretty overbearing at this point. You can't let anybody into your store without showing proof of papers. Unless it's... we're entering in another time where we're just repeating back to 100 years prior. We're just going back to Prohibition times, okay? There's going to be speakeasies. There's going to be people who haven't gotten the jab just fucking buying stuff out of the back of businesses, trying to skirt the fucking police. Can you believe... Government hasn't fucking learned anything. They don't crack open any history books and see how this shit has fucking happened. Is it just going to create another separate fucking economy? Maybe that's what they want. I don't know. Manager of the Counter, a burger shop located in Times Square, said that the mandate will create an economic crisis in New York and that they won't have enough employees that are, if they are all required to be vaccinated. Again, because say, all right, they're fully vaccinated right now. Now you got to keep in mind, it's like, okay, are you keeping up on your booster shots? Whenever the fucking CDC decides, yeah, you need booster shots every 6 months and every quarter and bi-monthly. See where this goes if you just give in. That's why I'm happy to see at least some people pushing back. And this is why this is going to get quite interesting. Because you remember, I understand, like, this is a little bit of a meme, and I'll just go ahead and pull it out just a little bit for you so you can see it. Remember when, Black Lives Matter really wanted an audience with Joe Biden because they felt like they put him into the White House. And sure, all of the fervor that they drummed up during the summer of 2020, that's what happened. That's what catapulted Joe Biden into the White House. Yep, that's 100% the case. Yep, definitely. But if Black Lives Matter hops on this narrative, because, yeah, you take a look at the vaccination numbers, and while half of Americans out there right now have been fully vaccinated, there are certain communities that are maybe just a little bit more disproportionately underrepresented in that half out there. As you can see here, 55% of black folks will be excluded from public life in New York City by vaccine passports. So 45% of the black population, at least within New York City. Again, this is, of course, just a little meme, so you can't really take anything that it puts seriously. But the way that they're phrasing this, and I don't even know if this is an official Black Lives Matter thing, but if they start to run with it, I would be very, very happy if they did. Because, yeah, guess what? If you guys are all about Black Lives Mattering and, the government, systemic racism, keeping it all down, vaccine passports very much so are targeting your prized communities. Think of it as the new Jim Crow. You want to continue to throw around that rhetoric as well? All of these election laws, it's just like the brand new Jim Crow. Yeah, well, how about now creating another two-tiered society, something that your parents or your grandparents, if you are, of course, one of these minority groups, having to show your papers, not being allowed in if you are of a certain status, that might ring a little bit too true. A little bit of an uncomfortability might be unearthed by this. So if they want to start running with this, I can't necessarily say I'd be against it, because I think it is a pretty valid point. And then just to wrap things up, well, we've talked about before that different things start happening around the world, and how they first start off as being just just outright dismissed. Nobody's talking about that kind of stuff, like, fuck, there will never be a vaccine mandate, and then a couple days later, yeah, we're thinking about it, and then, no, don't worry, it's only going to be for federal employees. Don't worry, it's only going to be for New York City. Don't worry, it'll only be for international travel. Don't worry. See where this stuff goes? See, because the media keeps pushing this stuff. The White House keeps pushing this stuff. Your overlords keep pushing this stuff. You got to stop it before it gets too far down the list, because, no, don't worry, none of it's happening. And then when it starts rolling out, then they just start changing the phrases a little bit. Key to New York City? Sure. That's not a vaccine passport now, is it? It's a key out there, so you can go back and you can return to your freedom. It might be happening, but it's a good thing. It's keeping people safe. It's making sure that grandma stays alive. Yeah, you know what? Hey, vaccine passports are happening, but it's optional. You can always just go get the jab. It is safe and secure after all. We need more vaccinations out there. That's why we need to have these policies. If you oppose vaccine passports, you're a bad person. You should be blamed for not being vaccinated anyways. And it gets to a point where, hey, guess what? That vaccine passports aren't enough. There are still too many businesses not complying with it. There are not enough cities or municipalities out there complying with our radical ideas, so we're just going to have to go ahead and enforce it. And then you get to a point where eventually you hit to 10 after you start punishing the people that run against the narrative, after you start firing them, after you try to ascribe accountability for them not doing what you want them to do, then you just end up with blind hero worship. That's where a lot of these people are anyways, where it's just, no matter how stupid Biden is, no matter how fucking evil and maniacal Kamala Harris is, who has been, once again, just very, very quiet outside of just posting some really horrific vice presidential approval numbers. She's been very, very quiet. Don't know what she's scheming about at the moment, but maybe she'll pop back up once the heat starts to dissipate off Cuomo. But this is what we've been talking about for a while. And it's nicely notarized right here. It's always what happens. It's always what happens. And it's been crystallized within the past 18 months. So do pay attention. Do pay attention. Now we're going to move on to the Olympics, because they're starting to wrap up, and some very interesting developments, to say the least, have been happening. I thank you very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.